Hey guys, so we're here for part 4 of our series on disposition choices with Modern Mortician, Melissa down in Texas. And this one is again where we're going to rely on Melissa's expertise because this is something you do and handle down in Texas, water cremation. I don't get the privy up here in Michigan unless I drive for several hours to get to a facility. So I'm excited for your take on things and for your input. I know it's been quite a controversial topic lately, even within the business between directors and things. It's gotten a little heated in some discussions. So water cremation, what do you like to call it? Because some people say it's not cremation, but by law, that is what it is. It is cremation. So give us a breakdown on the names it goes by and the nutshell version of what it is.
Okay, I prefer to call it water cremation. As we're getting it passed in legislation, it's easier for everybody to understand, and it is still the breakdown of the body, but not by fire, by water. It's known as aquamation, resumation, water cremation, alkaline hydrolysis. It's got all these AKAs because it's still like Wild West out here trying to figure out what's the easiest way to market it. And the resumation and aquamation are basically trade terms brought up by the companies that created them, resumation, and BioResponse Solution, the aquamation. They're great names, but it's like Levi's jeans versus, Jabot jeans or whatever. What's popular?
Oh, Jabot.
I know. We took a big step to the past. Like, does that speak of my age?
1994 right there, I think.
So it's like, what can you call it that's palatable for the consumer? And really, I feel like water cremation is the best because at the end of the process, you're getting an urn back with the cremated remains broken down, all that by water rather than flame. So it's actually not legal in Texas. Did you know that?
Oh, you travel then to some?
I don't travel. My bodies travel.
Well,
They go to a facility in St. Louis, Missouri.
okay.
Hughes Funeral Alternatives is our partner in that process, and we're very transparent with our families that this is why it's not legal in Texas yet, and these are the states that it is legal in. And we just need, to utilize this airplane that's already going there anyway. So it's just hitching a ride in the bottom. It's just like sending grandma home, from Florida to California. It happens all the time in our career. So when it's legal in Texas, we're going to be doing a lot more of them. But right now, it's probably 3% of my business. But it's great, and families are open to it, and they're asking about it, and they're wanting it.
Why are they wanting that over flame cremation when they have to go to such an extent to get the person there?
What it's coming down to is like, they'd say grandma was afraid of fire, or it just seems so violent. Flame, water just seems so much more gentler, and it is, in the sense of breaking down the body. And plus, it's far more eco-friendly.
Mm-hmm.
It uses 90% less energy than flame cremation. It does not emit anything into the atmosphere. There's no carbon output. The electricity that it uses to run the machine is minimal, very minimal. And then you've got what it is a mixture of 95% water and 5%, let me look at my notes, potassium hydroxide and sodium hydroxide. So the KOH and the NaOH. And that mixed together is what breaks down the soft tissues of the body and leaves you with pure white bone. It's beautiful to see this process afterwards. I have visited a facility in person multiple times when they had a machine in St. Pete, Florida. I had been visiting a friend, and so I would take the drive to St. Pete, and I'd go bother them and be like, show me the things. And it's really, really unique and interesting. And I can't wait for more people to feel comfortable with offering this form of disposition to families, whether it's legal in your state yet or not. You can
Right.
still offer it.
Well, and that's the thing is it's just like where I am, it would just be the transportation to drive them there and then to get them back, which yes, you could mail their cremated remains back up to us or, any of a number of things they could go drive and get them back again. But it's just, oh, that cost, we don't want to pay that cost and yada, yada. We'll just do with what we are doing. Which cost is another big question. I get that asked that almost most frequently is, how does this compare to flame cremation? It has to be way more expensive, but it's the same except for the transportation.
Yeah.
Correct?
Here,
Is that what you're finding?
we choose to charge, it's under $2,500 with everything included. So it's about 25% more than our flame cremation costs are. That's because we're looking at a flight,
Right.
$600 flight to take the body to another state. But there are providers already that are offering it at the same price as flame. And families, when presented with it and they're the same cost, they're picking water more and more and more. And then there are some places that mark the price up 200% because this is new, this is great, and people want this. And here you are, paying more, and maybe they're not selling it as often. So it's all over the board as to how much it costs. Once it's legalized in Texas, we're looking at pricing it exactly the same as flame and letting families choose, not based on their budget, but based on their desire and their needs.
Well, and that's where I think all dispositions should be, is everything should be almost straight across the board. So you don't have to choose something for your loved one based on financial. You can say, okay, I do want burial, I do want cremation, I do want composting, or I do want whatever, and just choose based on choice rather than on monetary. That's my idyllic dream in this world. But that'll never happen. Probably in our lifetime, maybe eventually, but we can dream. So who would you say is the number one? Is there like one number one knowledge base on water cremation, like in the process? Like Katrina Spade was kind of that person for composting. Who is there one person that you would go to with all questions?
Probably Sam with BioResponse Solution, because her family made a machine and she is a scientist. So I've called her in on several discussions on Facebook before where I start getting beat down by other people. And I'm like, I don't have that answer for you, but let me tag Sam to the rescue. And she comes in there with the knowledge base and is just pow, pow, pow. And it's great. I wish I had a novel of all of her responses, because then I'd be a much more educated educator on this process. But yeah, I would say that she would be the one to go to with the majority of these questions. Second would be Nikki of Resumation, who's a former funeral director and now reps for that company. She's helping me out with my presentation for South by Southwest, which I'll be presenting on water cremation there.
Nice.
So both of them are excellent resources.
That's really great. No, I think it's good to know like a name that if you really want to dive in and want to email somebody or where to go, or, asking your funeral director, they may not have any answers, especially if it's not something commonplace for them. I have enough knowledge just because I've delved in for videos and I've visited a location and I've, educated myself on some of it, but there's so much I don't know. And there's questions I don't know. I think you had said something on one of your posts. Oh, the gooey stuff, as people call it, the residual after. You had called it by like its actual name. I'm like, I didn't know it had an actual name. Like what?
Effluent with an
effluent.
Effluent.
Yeah, effluent, which makes it sound really pretty, but it's
basically like urine.
Yeah.
That's what's left. And it's not even goo. That's what gets me is people are like, this is like crock potting your grandma. And I'm like, that's cute, but no, it's really not. It's like taking a long bath. It's like a spa day for your corpse. And you know how your fingers wrinkle up when you're in the tub too long? It just continues that process. So that's you get a water product that's left over, and you get your bone product, which is not even bone, it's calcium something. Shoot me, I don't remember.
It's a very brittle form of bone that's
Yeah,
washed out from everything that can wash out from it down to it.
right.
Like with flame cremation, it's just the very basic elements of your bone left over.
Right.
You just have to dry them out a little more.
What's left is like, out of the 100% of the liquid that's left, 96% of that is actually just the water that you were using in the process. And then the 4% of it are your small peptides, like amino acids, sugars, nutrients, the salts, and soap, lye, things that were in your body to begin with. And so that's the remnants of the liquid, which is actually considered a huge nutrient pack, not only for the wastewater system where it may be disposed or discharged into, but like in Oregon, they have sod farmers that will come and pick up the big containers of this liquid and spray it on their grass. And they've got like the greenest grass in Oregon. And that's literally continuing the cycle. Whereas with flame cremation, you're breaking the cycle of circle of life kind of thing. You're breaking it because you're, going off into the atmosphere. With this, you have the option to be reincorporated back into nature. So it's taking what happens with natural burial and accelerating it. What happens in 6 months happens in 6 hours.
Right. When I think there's a misconception that we're boiling in acid this deceased person, and that's far from the truth. We're not like melting them away with acids at all.
No, nowhere near Breaking Bad level of what's going on here.
No.
Huge misconception.
Mafia, get rid of a body type situation.
Right. Don't knock it until you try it. If you have the opportunity to travel or visit somewhere local that has this option available, and just check the machine out, ask questions. It's available for pets in all 50 states, and it's getting more prevalent now. We started with it in Pflugerville, Texas, with Eternal Waters Aquamation here in Texas. And now there's one that's in Houston, and they're looking at another one in another suburb of Austin that's involved in a vet clinic. So it's becoming more popular, and it's being offered more places. One of the most well-renowned places that offers it is in Seattle, Resting Waters Aquamation. They've had great publicity and press, and they're doing such amazing things within their community too. So even if you can't visit a human facility, try to make connections or even follow the Instagrams of these pet places, because it'll open your eyes and give you a whole new perspective on this form of disposition that you weren't exposed to before.
Now, I know one question that I'm sure people are going to ask after watching and hearing you talk about this has nothing to do with the water cremation, but you talked about flying people from Texas up to St. Louis for this, unembalmed, obviously, and you have no problems with that. Do you have to explain to them? I get asked that a lot. Can you ship people unembalmed? Can you do this? Can you do that? So what hurdles do you have to do that? Any?
It's the same as if a funeral home has to send a body to like Washington for body donation. Like if they're in the body donation program, you can't embalm those bodies. So when we pack them in a combo unit, it is the unembalmed body in the wrapping and the sheeting. They use plastic. We've got a plant-based plastic product that kind of seals on itself, so it contains everything within. But you strategically place ice gel packs. between the thighs, under the legs, at the base of the back, between the shoulder blades, on the chest, on the abdomen, and in the armpits. And they fly with those gel ice packs wherever they're going. And it's not like they're, catching multiple flights and having layovers and stuff like that. They are on direct flights to where they're going. Thankfully, Southwest Airlines has a direct flight to St. Louis. Otherwise, we'd be using United or somebody else. But these are direct flights. There's not a lot of changeover. And so by the time they get there, 90% of the time, the gel packs are still frozen. So, and the plane was going to go there anyway. So for the argument that this is a carbon, it's spewing carbon because of the plane was going there anyway. We're just hitching a ride underneath. So, it's kind of like hitchhiking. You're going anyway. So.
Right. What's one more person?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, guys, that is the end of our first 4 video series on disposition choices. What we want is for you to post disposition choices that you would like to hear more about, because there are many that are in the media, available in other countries, that you hear about, that you're curious on, want to know more about. Post those below. Email us. Let us know what you want to hear about, and we will continue the series with part 5, 6, 7, 8, however many we have to, as long as you're providing good options for us to talk about. And so thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate it. And let us know what you want to hear about next. Bye, guys.
Bye.